Have you ever felt like you're stuck in the same loop? Going to work, paying bills, and then ending up right back where you started? In the US, millions of people start businesses every year, but most of them are just copying what already exists. A coffee shop like Starbucks, an app like Uber, an online store like Amazon. They think they're chasing the American dream, but in reality, they're running an exhausting race with no finish line. Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal, calls this going from 1 to N, which means simply replicating what's already there. But to truly break through, you have to learn how to go from 0 to 1, creating something that has never existed before. That's the path to escaping competition and genuinely transforming your life. In this audiobook summary, we'll uncover powerful lessons from 0 to 1, a book often described as a roadmap for anyone who wants to build the future instead of living in the past. If this sounds like the journey you need, hit the like button and subscribe right now so you don't miss the books that can transform your mindset, your finances, and your career. Part 1. The 0 to 1 Mindset. Peter Thiel begins with a perspective that completely changes the way we think about entrepreneurship and innovation. There are two ways to create value. The first is going from 1 to N, which means scaling, copying, or making incremental improvements on what already exists. The second is going from 0 to 1, creating something entirely new, something the world has never seen before. Most businesses today focus on only going from 1 to N, adding more branches, launching products that are just slightly better than the old ones, or replicating a successful model from somewhere else. That might generate short-term profits, but it doesn't lead to real breakthroughs. It doesn't change the game. For example, if you open another pizza shop just like countless others in New York, you're only carving out a thin slice of an already crowded market. But if you had created a food delivery app like Uber Eats before it existed, you would have made a leap from 0 to 1, a true innovation that doesn't just add to the world, but changes the way the world works. Thiel emphasizes this point. Real progress is vertical, not horizontal. Horizontal progress is copying. Vertical progress is creating something unique, different, and irreplaceable. He writes, "Every time we create something new, we go from 0 to 1. Creation is singular. Copying may be easy, but it offers limited value." This is the core philosophy of the book. Don't just compete. Create a monopoly through innovation. Let's take some real-world examples everyone knows. In the late 1990s, while companies were racing to open more video rental stores like Blockbuster, Netflix took a different path. Instead of adding one more store, they reinvented the model, first by renting DVDs through the mail, then by streaming movies online. Netflix made the leap from 0 to 1. The result? Blockbuster collapsed while Netflix became a cultural icon. Or think about the iPhone. Before 2007, every phone manufacturer was locked in linear competition, adding more buttons, slightly better features, minor upgrades, but Apple did what no one else dared. They turned the phone into a pocket-sized computer, a digital hub for everyday life. That wasn't a small improvement, it was a revolution, a perfect example of going from 0 to 1. According to Thiel, achieving 0 to 1 requires us to ask different questions. What valuable thing is missing in the world that I can create? Instead of asking, how can I compete better? Ask how I can be unique. That's the key behind every great company from Google to Amazon. Part 2. Why competition kills creativity. Peter Thiel makes a surprising argument. Competition isn't as good as we were taught to believe. In traditional economics, competition is seen as the driving force behind innovation. It lowers prices, improves quality, and benefits consumers. But Thiel flips this idea on its head. He argues that competition often blinds companies, pushing them to focus only on beating rivals instead of creating something entirely new. He writes, "In a fierce competitive battle, businesses no longer have the space to think differently. They're just running in a race with fixed rules. The result? Profits get squeezed, pressure grows, and no one truly wins." Thiel calls this the trap of perfect competition,
a state where every company looks like the same, profits fall to zero, and no one creates breakthrough value. Take the airline industry in the US. Airlines like American, Delta, and United have spent decades competing on price, cutting costs, and offering slightly better services. Yet despite millions of Americans flying every day, the airline business has historically been one of the least profitable industries, often running at a loss. Intense competition left every airline the same, with no one achieving creative monopoly. Now, compare that to Google. Instead of entering the social media war against Facebook or Amazon, Google doubled down on building the world's best search engine. That focus made them virtually a monopoly in their field, generating massive profits and giving them room to expand into new areas like YouTube, Maps, and AI. Google didn't join the competitive game, they rewrote the rules. Another powerful example is Tesla. While traditional automakers fought each other over sedans, SUVs, and pickup trucks, Tesla chose a completely different path: fully electric cars backed by a battery and charging ecosystem. They didn't try to outcompete Ford or Toyota on price. Instead, they created an entirely new playing field, one only they could dominate. The result? Tesla became the symbol of innovation, while legacy automakers were left scrambling to catch up. Thiel's message is clear. If you're focused on competing, you won't be innovating. And if you're truly innovating, you won't have competition. That's why he insists, competition kills creativity.
Part 3. The secret of successful monopolies. While many Americans grow up believing that competition is the soul of free markets, Peter Thiel highlights a shocking truth. Every great company is a monopoly. But here, monopoly isn't the ugly kind that strangles markets. It's the natural result of creativity and innovation. Thiel defines it this way. A successful monopoly is a company that creates so much value that no one else can replace it. Monopoly doesn't come from blocking competitors. It comes from doing something 10 times better than anyone else. And because of that, you enjoy sustainable profits that give you the resources to keep investing, innovating, and changing the world. Think about Google. When you search for something online, nearly 90% of Americans choose Google over Bing or Yahoo. Why? Because Google built a search engine so good that it became nearly irreplaceable. That's monopoly, built on real value. Or look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos didn't just sell books online. He created a massive e-commerce platform where you can buy anything, with shipping so fast it's almost impossible to compete. When Amazon Prime launched, Americans became hooked on free 2-day delivery. That wasn't competition, that was dominance. Thiel also points out that monopolies often contribute more to society. With higher profits, they can fund research, improve products, and even reshape how people live. Imagine a world without the iPhone. Smartphones may never have exploded the way they did. Apple created a 0-to-1 product and held a monopoly in the premium segment for over a decade. So, what's the secret to building a successful monopoly? According to Thiel, there are 4 key elements. 1. Breakthrough technology. Your product must be at least 10x better than the alternatives. 2. Network effects. The more people use it, the stronger it becomes. Think Facebook or PayPal. 3. Economies of scale. Growth makes you more efficient, making it impossible for smaller rivals to catch up. Take Walmart, for example. As Walmart expanded across the US, its massive scale allowed it to negotiate directly with suppliers and push prices lower than anyone else. That let them sell cheaper, attract more customers, grow even bigger, and push prices down again. A cycle no small retailer could ever match. 4. Strong branding. A powerful brand builds trust and loyalty, like Apple or Nike. Thiel reminds us, monopoly isn't something you win by crushing your rivals. It's something you achieve by walking a path so unique that in the end, no one else can compete with you. In other words, if you want to build a truly great company, find the path that leads to monopoly.
Part 4.
The power of long-term vision. One of Peter Thiel's most important lessons is this: great companies don't just survive the present, they're built to dominate the future. Most small businesses focus on short-term profits, selling more this month, growing a little next quarter. But the truly great companies share one trait: they bet on the long term, often willing to lose money for years as long as it secures their position to rule the market later on. Thiel calls this having faith in the next 10 to 20 years. If you're stuck only in the present, you'll get trapped in the cycle of competition. But if you have the courage to stay committed to the future, that's when you can build a sustainable monopoly. The best example is Amazon. When Jeff Bezos started selling books online, the company lost money year after year. Investors doubted him, calling it a pointless cash burn. But Bezos had a long-term vision to make Amazon the everything store. He was willing to accept near-zero profits for more than a decade, expanding scale, lowering costs, and securing market dominance. The payoff? Amazon grew into not just a retail giant, but also built entire ecosystems like Amazon Prime and AWS, which generate enormous profits today. Another example is Tesla. Elon Musk faced bankruptcy more than once, but he refused to abandon his long-term vision to spark a global electric vehicle revolution. While most doubted him, Musk kept pouring money into R&D and manufacturing infrastructure even at huge losses. Now, Tesla isn't just the largest EV company in the world, it forced the entire auto industry to shift toward electrification. And in Asia, we can look at Shopee, the e-commerce arm of Sea Group. For years, Shopee lost billions, constantly burning cash through promotions, free shipping, and discount vouchers. Many called it unsustainable, but Shopee had a long-term vision to dominate e-commerce across Southeast Asia. Today, they've achieved that goal, surpassing rivals and securing the #1 market share in several countries. This is a clear example of sacrificing the short term to win in the long term. Thiel's message is clear: long-term vision is the weapon that turns startups into monopolies. While most businesses are obsessed with short-term numbers, it's those who stay committed to big, bold goals that end up changing the world. Part 5. The human factor in startups. Peter Thiel emphasizes a crucial truth: technology, capital, and ideas all matter, but the single most important factor in a startup's success is people, especially the founders and the early team. A company cannot grow strong if its human foundation is fractured. He compares a startup to a family rather than a corporation. In the early days, the team is small, but every member must trust each other completely and share the same vision. If disagreements, conflicts, or distrust appear at the start, the company will collapse before it ever takes off. He calls this the nuclear structure of a startup. Founders don't just need to be talented, they must be deeply committed and complementary to each other's strengths. A great tech company cannot be built by people who treat it as just a job. It must be built by those willing to stake their future and their lives on the mission. A prime example is PayPal, which Thiel co-founded. In the beginning, the founding team was a tight-knit group of friends who believed strongly in creating a new way to pay online. They went through crises and nearly went bankrupt, but it was their unity and trust that kept PayPal alive, eventually turning it into a billion-dollar company. Facebook is another familiar case. Mark Zuckerberg could not have built the world's largest social network alone. He was joined by like-minded friends such as Dustin Moskovitz and Eduardo Severin, and later Sheryl Sandberg, who transformed Facebook from a student startup into a money-making machine. Google offers a similar lesson. Without the partnership of Larry Page and Sergey Brin, one driven by technological vision, the other brilliant in algorithm optimization, Google might never have become the global giant of search and digital ads. History itself shows this truth. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's greatest military leaders, never won a battle by himself. His genius lay in strategy,
but victories required talented generals, loyal soldiers, and a well-coordinated system. Without his team, Napoleon was just one man, and one man alone cannot turn the tide of war. Startups are no different. The founder may be the Napoleon of the company, the one who sets vision and strategy, but without a strong, committed team to execute, the company will fail at the starting line. Thiel's message is clearly clear. An idea may have the power to change the world, but without the right people to execute it, the idea remains only on paper. Startups are not solo races. They are journeys of trust, unity, and shared vision.
Part 6. Secrets and Innovation. Peter Thiel believes that behind every great company lies a secret, an important truth that most people either don't see or refuse to believe. The world tends to think that everything has already been discovered, that there are no big opportunities left. But the reality is, countless secrets are still hidden, waiting for those curious and bold enough to uncover them. A company truly makes the leap from 0 to 1 when it discovers such a secret and turns it into unique value. It's not about copying existing ideas. It's about finding something new, something game-changing. The clearest example is Google. Before Google, dozens of search engines already existed: Yahoo, Alta Vista, Lycos, and more. But the secret Larry Page and Sergey Brin uncovered was this: the importance of a website could be measured by the number and quality of links pointing to it. They saw what others ignored, and from that insight built Google into the world's dominant search engine. A more recent example familiar to Americans is Tesla. For years, the auto industry assumed electric cars weren't feasible because battery costs were too high. But Elon Musk believed in a secret: battery prices would fall dramatically if production scaled up. He bet everything on building the Gigafactory, and today, Tesla not only sells electric cars, but is reshaping the entire clean energy industry. Thiel emphasizes, to discover secrets, you must ask questions others avoid. You must dare to challenge so-called obvious truths and dig deeper than anyone else. Because every true breakthrough begins with uncovering a secret the world has yet to recognize. Part 7. Your World 20 Years from Now. Peter Thiel asks a question that makes many people pause. What will your world look like 20 years from now? Most people respond vaguely. Maybe technology will be better, maybe life will be more convenient, but Thiel argues that the future doesn't just arrive on its own. The future is created by vision, determination, and the creativity of those bold enough to think differently. He draws a line between two types of progress: horizontal progress, 1 to N, copying what already exists, simply scaling it, like opening another Starbucks on a new street corner. Vertical progress, 0 to 1, creating something entirely new, reshaping the landscape, like the arrival of the internet or the iPhone. If all we do is copy, then 20 years from now we'll live in a world of more, but not different. But if we uncover secrets and innovate, the future 2 decades from today could be unrecognizable compared to the present. Think back 20 years. In 2004, there was no iPhone, Facebook had just been born, Google was still young, and Amazon mostly sold books. Who could have imagined that in just 2 decades, the phone in an American's pocket would replace the map, the wallet, the camera, the TV, and even the bank? And now, look at AI. In 2023, ChatGPT and other AI tools stunned the world. Within a single year, AI could write essays, code software, compose music, and even generate images and videos. And this is only the beginning. What about 20 years from now? Perhaps AI will become a trusted colleague, supporting us at work, helping doctors diagnose diseases, enabling teachers to personalize learning, or even guiding us in managing money and investing wisely. Who knows? Thiel's point is clear. The future belongs to those who dream big and take action today. If you only live as you are now, 20 years from now, you'll still be in the same place. But if you dare to think differently, if you start from 0 to 1, you can help shape the future instead of passively walking into it. Part 8. The final lesson. The future doesn't just happen, it's created. The most important lesson from 0 to 1 is this: the future is not a straight line extending from the present. It is something built by those bold enough to think differently and act differently. If you only follow the old path, you'll end up at the same destinations millions of others have already reached. But if you dare to carve your own path, you can create something that has never existed before. That is the essence of 0 to 1. Turning the impossible into possible and transforming vision into reality. Great entrepreneurs, groundbreaking inventors, and even the most successful investors all share one trait. They don't wait for the future to arrive, they actively shape it. And the lesson for you today is this: don't just live to survive, live to create. If you found value in this audiobook summary, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share it with others. Because who knows, you might be the one to lay the foundation for the world's next 0 to 1.